The Mesmerizing Mermaid shawl begins with this beautiful dip stitch section, and you're changing colors, working with 5 colors faded together. So when you break your yarns, you don't have to weave in your ends at the end of your project. Let's learn how to do the Weavin Stephen to weave in our ends as we knit for quick and simple finishing. Here is section 1 with the dip stitch. I'm using 5 colors for the Mesmerizing Mermaid shawl, starting with my lightest color, and then color B, C, D, and then finally color E. So for this shawl, you work the colors A, B, C, D, E, and then reverse D, C, B, A, and then reverse B, C, D, E. So you get this beautiful in and out fade of A, B, C, D, E, D, C, B, A, B, C, D, E, D, C, B, A. So you're getting a crescendo and then a diminuendo as the colors grow in and out of those saturated colors. So you're going to have lots of broken tails of yarn. So this is what the wrong side looks like of my work, but we're going to do this as we knit. So I have my very first color, color A, worked on this little swatch. And whenever you join color B, we're going to do color B for the next dip stitch. It says knit 3 and then dip 5. So I'm going to knit 3 with my new color, and I broke color A, the color that I just finished with. So we have 2 tails of yarn, knit 3. Let's do the first dip stitch. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches over, and then in between stitches 5 and 6, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows down into the front of the work. Grab that strand of yarn and make a long stitch for the first dip stitch and knit 1. All right, so after you do that dive down, that dip and the knit 1, take both tails of yarn, the broken tail of yarn and the new strand, the new tail of yarn of color B, and wrap it around your working yarn like that. Okay? Now we're going to do the next dip stitch. We go down 1, 2, 3, 4 rows below, pull a long strand of yarn through, knit 1, and then cross those broken strands of yarn, those tails, across on top of your working yarn. That's the Weavin Stephen technique. We'll do that a few more times. 1, 2, 3. You're going 3 rows below for the dip stitch. Pulling a strand of yarn through. Knit 1. And after you do the knit 1 is when you cross for this shawl. Now we go 2 rows below. So we're always going into the same column between these 2 stitches. This was stitch number 5. So we go down 2 rows below. Pull yarn through, knit 1, cross, and go down 1 row below and knit 1. And we'll do the Weavin Stephen. So that's the dip stitch. You might need to practice this. If this is your first time doing a dip stitch, there's also a link in the pattern that's just about how to do the dip stitch. So watch that video as well. This video is mostly about showing that Weavin Stephen in combination with the dip stitch technique. So I did that for 5 total wraps. Let's do it 5 more times so that we do the Weavin Stephen a little bit further along the wrong side. So we need to dip 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going in between stitches 5 and 6. So in between here, right down there, and we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows below. Pull a long strand through. Knit 1, and then don't forget to do the Weavin Stephen. If you hold the yarn in your right hand, now we're diving down 4 rows below, pulling the yarn through, knitting 1, and then cross those broken tails of yarn on top. So you have to let go of your yarn to do that Weavin Stephen cross. Now we go 3 rows below, knit 1, and cross, and then go down 2 rows below. So every time you do the dip stitch further up towards the top of your row, those dip stitches can be a little shorter. Knit 1 and cross, and the final dip stitch, just 1 row below, and then knit 1 and cross. And this is enough. I do that cross for 10 stitches for the Mesmerizing Mermaid shawl, and then just keep on doing your dip stitches. So I have to do a dip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, diving down 5 rows below. And so you don't have to do the Weavin Stephen anymore after you do it about 10 times. And 2 rows below, knit, 1 row below, knit. That was another dip 5. Again, you can watch the dip stitch video linked in the pattern to get an up-close look at how to do that dip 5 technique. But there's the dip stitch. It makes such a cool effect on the fabric, and your ends are woven in as you knit. So do that every time you introduce a new color. So this is what the right side looks like with all those dip stitches. And once you do that every time, you don't have to weave in your ends at the end of your project. They're all worked into the wrong side, and then just snip your yarn, just cut the yarns, and then they're all woven in. The final tip I'll give you for this section 1 dip stitch for the Mesmerizing Mermaid is when you're doing that final dip stitch next to the I-cord edge, if it's hard for you to see exactly where to go, it honestly doesn't really matter, okay? So let me show you here at the end, whoops, at the end of my row here. So, I think I'm 1 stitch off on this sample. I have 1 stitch too many, but I'm just going to show you where you're going in. So when you're doing that final dip 5, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches here on your left needle for that final dip 5. So when you're doing the final dip stitch, you're going into that space before the 3 I-cord stitches. So you're going to have 5 stitches followed by the 3 I-cord stitches. So when you do your final dip 5, you're going into here. And if it's hard for you to see, wait, 1, 2, 3, wait, which one is 4, which one is 5? Just go down approximately 4 or 5 or 6 stitches below. Try to get 5 below, but it honestly doesn't really matter. So 5, and then you'll knit 1. So you'll go down here, and then here, here. If it feels a little bit wonky, you can go into the same place a couple of times for that dip stitch. As long as you're getting 5 stitches from here up to here for that final dip stitch, you're good to go, okay? So this is what that edge looks like next to the I-cord stitches. You're going down 1 and then 5. You're going down 5 below, then 4 below, 3, 2, 1. But just as long as it's happening at that edge, it's okay. Don't stress out if it doesn't feel exactly perfect at the edge, because it is a little bit trickier to see right before that I-cord. So give it some practice, do the Weavin Stephen, and it's going to look so beautiful with minimal finishing at the end. The Weavin Stephen technique is so quick and so easy. You can apply this to any project, a shawl, sweater, hats, and it finishes your projects as you knit, so that once you're done, you can just tuck in that last end, block your shawl, and wear it. So give it a try on the Mesmerizing Mermaid shawl. I'll link down below to all my patterns on Ravelry or Westknits.com, where you can download the Mesmerizing Mermaid shawl, and you can also collect a kit at Stephen Penelope, like this beautiful new custom Mesmerizing Mermaid palette dyed by Ching Fiber, or lots of other color options. So check out those kits, also linked down below. And if you want to learn some other tips and tricks, some other tutorials, there's a lot here on my YouTube channel, so you can give it a subscribe and check out all my tutorials as they come out each month. And on Westknits.com, I have a lot of workshops. So if you want to dive deeper into shawl construction, or my favorite tips and tricks, or learn how to knit brioche stitch, you can learn how to do those with my online video tutorials at Westknits.com. They're fun chapters, workshops organized by lessons that you can watch at your own pace and learn some new skills. So thanks for joining, and I hope you have fun with that mesmerizing mermaid dip stitch.